Episode number 972, The Power of Small Talk.
You're listening to the official BNI podcast with BNI founder and Chief Visionary Officer, Dr. Ivan Misner. Stay tuned for networking and referral marketing tips from the man who's been called the father of modern networking, along with suggestions and insights into getting the most from your membership in the world's largest networking organization, BNI.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the official BNI podcast. I'm Priscilla Rice, and I'm coming to you from Live Oak Recording Studio in Berkeley, California, and I'm joined on the phone today by the founder and the Chief Visionary Officer of BNI, Dr. Ivan Misner. Hello, Ivan. How are you and where are you?
I am doing great, and I am in Charlotte, North Carolina this week today at BNI Global Support Office, and I'll be talking to the staff and taking a look at the new museum room that has been set up. So I'm excited to be in Charlotte.
So what do you have to share with us?
Well, I've been having a lot of people ask me about small talk, and I've done a couple of podcasts on it, and I've got some new content, some new material. And so I thought I would talk about the power of small talk and how little conversations can develop into big relationships. And I'm sure you've heard, I've certainly heard people say, I'm just not good at small talk. I hear that all the time.
Oh, right. That's a phrase.
Yeah, I'm just not good at small talk, or I don't like small talk. Personally, I think small talk gets a bad reputation. The problem isn't small talk. The problem is staying there in small talk. Small talk shouldn't be the destination. It's the doorway. And if you never walk through the doorway, you're never going to build the kinds of relationships that generate referrals, that generate opportunities, that can build lifelong friendships. Networking isn't about collecting business cards. It's about collecting relationships. And relationships almost always begin with small talk, opening conversation. And I recommend you do a search on small talk, and you'll see a number of the podcasts that I've done on this. And this has some different content than what I had on those others. Many people think that they have to say something brilliant in the small talk. Well, you don't. You just have to make the other person feel important. That is what you need to do. So here's something I've learned over 40 years of building BNI. Many people forget exactly what you say, but they'll remember how you made them feel. When your conversation makes someone feel interesting, respected, or appreciated, you've already separated yourself from most of the people that they'll meet that day. So what do you actually say? Let's start with meeting someone for the first time. Instead of asking, so what do you do? Try asking, what's something good that's been keeping you busy lately? One asks for a job title, the other invites a story, and people remember stories. They don't remember job titles. Another question is, and I love this, what do you enjoy most about what you do? That question shifts people away from facts and towards passion. People light up when they talk about what they enjoy. Here's another favorite. How did you get into that? Almost everyone has a story, and stories build a connection faster than resumes ever will. Since this is a BNI podcast, here's a question that every member should become comfortable asking. Who's your ideal client or referral partner? With that, you're really asking, who can I help you meet? Another great question is, what's one challenge you're working through right now? Helping people solve problems is where referrals begin and relationships begin. And I know I've told stories about this where I've asked a question about, what's one of the challenges? And you don't want to lead with this question because it's not a good question to open with. But when somebody has talked a little bit to you, then you say, what's your biggest challenge right now? Or what's one of your challenges? And I remember creating a great relationship with someone who was talking to me about a nonprofit, wanting to start a nonprofit, but didn't think he was big enough to do it. And I referred him to a community foundation, which you basically set up a fund under a 401c3 charitable foundation. And I've talked about that in a podcast. And so helping people solve problems is where relationships and referrals begin. It certainly did in that case. So one of my favorites is what's something exciting you're working on that most people don't know about yet?
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's a great one. And before ending the conversation, ask, before we wrap up, what's one thing I should remember about you? I love that question.
Wow.
Now, remember these, it's not an interrogation. It's a discussion. So don't go in, and with a list of questions. And I've actually seen people go, so before we wrap up, what's one thing that I should remember about you? Wait, just have these tucked away in your mind so that you can ask these kinds of things and get people to open up. Now, let's move to other people that you've already met. Try beginning, somebody that you've met, like a BNI member. I've been thinking about what you said last time. This is what you asked. I've been thinking about what you said last time. We should pick up on that conversation. We should pick that conversation back up. That tells someone that you've listened, you remembered, and you cared. Now, particularly online groups for BNI and hybrid groups, you should be taking notes of what members, if you're working on your computer, it shouldn't be email. You should be taking notes on what members are saying so that when you do a one-to-one with that person or when you do a breakout with that person, you can absolutely ask this question. I've been thinking about your presentation last week or 2 weeks ago, and I'd love to pick that conversation back up. That tells people that you're listening while they're doing their presentations. Take notes about people in their weekly presentations, especially online, because it's really easy to get distracted. Or you can say, that idea you shared really stuck with me. I actually used it. Or you can say, I appreciate how consistent you are. You always show up. Or I admire the way you handled that situation that you discussed. These show that you're listening to people. Here's one especially valuable inside BNI. Who do you know that I could help right now? It's just a conversation from what can I get to who can I serve? That's givers gain in action. And perhaps the most powerful question of all is one that everybody's heard me say, how can I help you? And, it's funny, Priscilla, true story. I was doing a live radio interview just a few years ago. And I talked about meeting people in small talk. And I talked about asking, if you feel like there's some kind of connection with the person, asking, how can I help you? And the talk show host just shut me down right there. It's like, oh, that old phrase, how can I help you? That never works. That I don't recommend that. Well, I'm on live radio. I don't want to get into an argument with the guy. And I just like, well, I found that it kind of works, but let's move on. Let's talk about that other topic you wanted to talk about. And so, I just moved the conversation on. Now, here's what was interesting. When the interview was over, I said, so what kind of people are you looking for to bring in to interview? And he gave me some professions and some specific names. And I told him, I said, I know that person. I know that person really, really well. Would you like me to reach out to them and see if they'd be willing to be on your show? And he's like, wow, really? Yes, that would be fantastic. And I said, that's how you say, how can I help you without actually using those words?
Right.
And he said, touche. You're absolutely right. You just found a way to help me. You didn't use those words, those tired old words, he called them. But that's exactly what you did. And it works. Everyone, it works. It really does. If you want to help somebody, ask some variation of that. What can I do to assist you with that? How can I help you? Who are you looking for in his case? So one more phrase.
Okay.
I've been hearing great things about you. Then give an example. I've been hearing great things about you. When you say that, when you say, so-and-so was just talking about how, great a job you did, you're giving someone the gift of their reputation. You're putting a mirror up to them with a positive vision of their reputation. So here's the big lesson on small talk. Small talk isn't about filling silence. It's about opening doors. The goal isn't to impress people. It's to express genuine interest. That old saying that it's not about being interesting, it's more about being interested is the key. When you become more interested than interesting, people naturally become more interested in you. This week, those of you listening to my podcast, choose just 3 questions from today's podcast, just 3, and use them at your next open networking session at a chapter meeting, or during your next one-to-one, or with someone you've been meaning to reconnect with. Choose 3 questions and ask them those 3 questions and let them just shine. One thoughtful question creates a conversation. One conversation creates a relationship, and one relationship can change a business or even a life. Because in BNI, we know that small talk may start the conversation, but meaningful conversation builds the relationship, and relationships are where referrals live. So until next week, keep building your network. And remember, networking is more about farming than it is about hunting. It's about building those relationships, and the seeds that you plant through simple conversations today often become the referrals you harvest tomorrow. That's my message this week, Priscilla.
That's great. I really like that. And I think it's very helpful.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And for those listening, I'd love your feedback. Leave a message on the podcast. I read every single message that gets posted to BNI Podcast. Thanks, Priscilla.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. This podcast is sponsored by MeisnerAudioPrograms.com. And these audio programs will provide you with the tools and the inspiration to powerfully enhance your BNI experience. So check out the great material that's available to you at MeisnerAudioPrograms.com. And then use the promo code IVAN50 for 50% off of everything. All of the proceeds go to the BNI Foundation. Thank you so much for listening. This is Priscilla Rice, and we look forward to having you join us again next week for another exciting episode of the official BNI Podcast.